So in our last lesson, we have mentioned about the relationship. You already know because you have already studied before for the exam. There are three types of the relationship. One of them is a one-to-one, one-to-many, many-to-many. When you are making relationship, we have already explained, you need to use mostly foreign keys. Yes, when you are making relationship between the tables, we are going to use mostly foreign key. If you want to establish a well-designed database, you must use foreign keys and then primary keys to make relationship between them. But there is one issue. What is that issue? When you make primary key, system automatically making index for it. Yes, but when you make foreign key, system is not making automatically index for it, for that field. Let's see one example. For example, in this table order, we have primary key field. Yes, when you set this one, the primary key, order ID will be automatically indexed, clustered, and unique index. It has clustered and unique index type. But when you set the underscore customer ID, this field, underscore customer ID, as a foreign key, like that, this field will not be indexed automatically. But it is a wise to index it because of these two reasons. Because computer database engine use the foreign key field to access some information. Especially in the next coming lesson, we will learn if you have more than one table, to access the information in that table, we are going to use join query. We will use join query. To display the result of the join query, database engine will use the primary key and foreign keys. As primary key already has index, automatically will be indexed. But foreign key will not be automatically indexed. That's why it is a good or wise practice to set index for the foreign key field. For example, in this example, it is a good design table. Customer ID, look at in the first table, customer ID. Also, you know that already. This is a parent table, this is a child table. Yes, customer ID. When you set it as a primary key, it will be automatically indexed. Here, table order listed. Let's examine this one. Order ID is a set primary key. Yes, when you set it as a primary key, it's already index. Look at cluster index. PK primary key orders. It has also name primary key orders. But when you set this field customer ID underscore customer ID is a foreign key, later look at we are making one index for it. Non-clustered index. Its name will be IX index. Table order. In the table order table underscore customer ID ascending order. This means also we are indexing, manually indexing. Here we are making manual index for the underscore customer ID. When you look at the indexes, we have now two indexes. Yes, this index come automatically because of the primary key. Yes, when you set this field as a primary key, it will be automatically indexed. But we did this index manually. How we did? By using this. You already know how to make index. Yes, if you want to make index, you can use create keyword. After that, you should tell what type of index you will do. You cannot do clustered index because in the table order, you can have maximum one clustered index. This primary key already clustered index. That's why you should tell non-clustered index. And then you should give one name. You can give any name here to index. And then on which table you want to make index, table order. In this table we want to do. And on which field, in this field we want to make index. Now this table has table order. This table order has 2 index. If you look at this table, it should have 1 index. Yes, we didn't do any single index for this one, but primary key automatically will make 1 index for the customer ID field. Also, we thought index is useful when you're using, for example, search. When you are doing search operation, for example, select query. When you are going to use select query, it is useful. You can access and you can find the data as much as fast. If you look at our previous designs, in the previous design, in the first table we have primary key field. In the second table, order ID primary key field. Customer ID is this customer ID primary key in the first table, but here it will be set as a foreign key. Yes. In this design, we have 2 index. In the first table, we have 1 index. In the second table, we have second index. But it well-designed table, it has 3 index. In the first table, we have 1 index coming from the primary key. In the second table, we have 1 index coming from primary key, and then also we set manually, we have defined manually 1 index for the foreign key index, foreign key field, sorry. If you don't have any question related to this one, we have finished completely relationships. Today we are going to start a new topic. Constraint. Already we know this constraint, just we will systematically review them. Already you know all this constraint. Constraint is you can tell constraint is a requirement. You can tell like that it is a requirement or rules you should follow. Yes. What are they? Let's see. So there's in SQL server in the database engines, there is a query optimizer. This query work of this query optimizer is to display the result of your query or execute your queries. It can be delayed query, it can be select query, it can be update query, it can be any type of the query as much as early to execute your query as much as early. That's why it should optimize the execution of your queries. Yes, query optimizer heavily use the constraints to optimize your query executions. That's why there you should, as much as possible, you should set accurately them. You already know them, but maybe we didn't systematically examine them. In this lesson, we will. You can think also this lesson is a summarization of the previous courses. First one is a not null constraint. Second one is check constraint, unique constraint, default constraint, primary key constraint, foreign key constraint. As I know, you already know what are they. Yes, let's see them one by one. Not null constraint, what does it mean? When you are defining a table, you can set, when you are identifying field name, when you identify a field name, after that, when you identify field data type, you can tell not null. Not null means when you are entering a data later on that field, you cannot leave this field empty. For example, when you are entering the information about the students to the database, you should provide a name, you should provide a surname, and you should provide a birth date. But you can leave this field empty. Let's see. You already know, but let's see. For example, for this table, let's execute one table, but you should make sure you have like that table or not. We have already this table and this table. Let's make it table 3. This query, as you know, will be executed inside the database, school1 database. Yes, this because this place is active. Now let's execute and refresh table, third table, and edit. Now let's look at now. You should provide something for the student ID. As we already told before, since it is a primary key, actually you don't need to tell this one. Whether you tell not null or not, you tell like that or not, you cannot leave this place empty because of primary key. Yes, in the SQL Server it's like that. But it is a common practice, even if it is primary key, you should do, let's do this one also. In our previous design, what was like that? Not null. It is not null. Yes. In this design, it was according to not null. Let's delete this one also. And make it 4. And execute. This table. Look at, we didn't tell not null this field, but it is because of it is primary key, you cannot leave null that field. Let's leave it null. What will happen? First name Ahmed. Look at, when I click, it is telling it is not committed. This means it is not accepted because of the, let's see what is the problem. Cannot insert the value null into the column student ID. Yes, if you look at here, we didn't tell not null, but still you cannot insert. Why? Because of primary key. If something set as a primary key, it should be automatically unique. Yes, and also it is not allowed to enter. In the SQL Server, it is like that. But in some other database system, you should explicitly tell like that. Yes, not null. Now you should enter here one value. After that, it will be accepted. You cannot leave this field empty. Also, in our design, for example, in our design, we told first name must be entered, last name must be entered, city and country, it is up to you. If you want, you will enter. If you don't want, you will not enter. Birthday also must be entered. Let's try. For example, the second query. First name you should provide. What about city and country? You can leave empty. City and country can be empty. Birth date you cannot empty. Yes, that's why you need to provide a value for them. Yes, it is accepted. Look at. You should provide some data for student ID. You should provide data for name, surname, but you can leave the city and country null, and you must provide one data for the birth date. Yes, because it is designed like that. Not null, and not null. We already know that one. Let's just summarize it. In this one, check constraint. Let's see one example. When you are entering data, you can check it. For example, for exam score field, you should provide one data between 0 and 100. Yes. If you provide a data less than 0 and more than 100, database system will not accept it. It is illogical. You can set this constraint. If it is optional, you should, if you want, you can add like that. Yes. Because nobody can get minus score and nobody can get higher than 100. Yes. You can set this type of the constraint. This time 5. You don't need one more. And then let's execute and refresh. We have fifth table and then edit this table now. Now you should provide something. For example, exam score, if you tell 200, let's see what will happen now. Birth date. It is telling you cannot enter this data. Why? Column exam score, because of the column exam score. Yes, because you should, according to our design, we should provide a data between 0 and 100. Yes, 200 is not accepted. Let's enter another invalid data. Again, minus 20 is not accepted. If it tell 99, it is accepted. Yes, it is committed. You can use another type of the check queries. If you remember, we used when you are making primary key and foreign key, you can, for example, when you are making primary key, you can write here primary key. Also, to make primary key, you can use constraint, because primary key is a type of constraint. Yes, that's why you can do primary key by using constraint keyword. Unique constraint. For example, if you set here unique, it will be unique constraint. You already know unique constraint. What does it mean? Unique constraint means school number. When you provide a school number for one student, it should be unique. If you repeated that school number 2 times, 3 times, it will not be accepted. Copy. Yes, this time table 6. Only in this design, you should provide first name, last name, and ID. Yes, school number should be unique. Executed. That is. Sorry, refresh. For example, when you enter first name, type value applied, type exec. Type value approximate data exit. Yes. Ahmet is a, sorry, it is not name. Yes, it is a number. Ahmet must be entered here. Other field, it is optional. If you want, you will enter or not. Yes. Now, second student. For example, this time, Dastan. You can enter null one time, but for example, when you enter 3, it will tell you cannot repeat null. Yes. Null already entered one time. You cannot enter null again. You should provide one different number. For example, this one, exact. Yes. This means school number must be unique because we design like that. Yes. School number must be unique. You can leave it null, but one time you can leave it null. If you leave it second time null, you cannot do. For example, if you do this one, for example, not to do 1, if you to tell this number, it will not exact because this number already used before for this student. You should provide another number, unique number. We already told unique is a constraint. Yes, that's why we can define unique like that. When you define it unique like that, it will be key. Yes, already it was also exam question. But let's see, look at here. Table 6 and keys. It has 2 key. Look at one of them came from the primary key, other one came from the unique. Yes, now it has 2 key field. Yes, we have 2 key field. Now this one more meaningful now for now. We told unique key is a type of constraint. That's why to set this field unique, you can use constraint. Yes, school number will be in type. Also, we will set for it one constraint. When you are using constraint keyword, you can give a name. For example, you can tell unique feed UF school number. It is a name given from us, and then unique. This field will be unique. And when you look at now, it has a one meaningful name. When you look at this key, you can see it's a UF school number given by you. But if you will not use constraint keyword, and if you set only unique, database system will automatically give one name to your key, like that name. Yes. If you want to give meaningful name to your constraints, you can use constraint keyword like that. You can use constraint to make one field unique, or shortcut, just you can write next to it unique like that. Or here at the same time we are defining field and then we are defining unique constraint. But here, first of all, you are making field here, email field, and later at the end of the table, by using constraint, you are making email field as a unique. You can use this option also. It is all 3 options are acceptable. This one here, we are making field in the same place. You are making it unique by using constraint. You are making field at the same time by using shortcut, and you are using it. You are making it unique constraint. You can do it like 3 method acceptable, but always we told if you use constraint keyword, it is a good option to use constraint, because when you are using constraint, you can give your name. For example, we have one unique field constraint. Its name is UC email, unique constraint email, unique constraint GSM font. You can give like a logical name. Later, when you look at here, for example, you can tell, when you look at the technical details of your table, you can see this is a unique constraint email. On the email field, we have one unique constraint. Yes, you can know when you look at, and when you are later writing some programs using this table designs, easily you can identify what is this key, what is this key, what is this key. Yes, easily you can identify and you can see more information about them. That's why it is a good method to use constraint keyword always. It is a little bit mixing, but it is better to use always constraint. So in this example, you are going to see you can make combination of the some field unique. For example, we can tell first name, last name, and birth date will be unique. Let's do this one example. This time table 7. Look at first name, last name, and birth date should be unique. This is a good example. Student ID 1. For example, Ahmet. Birth date, enter. 11/11/2000. Again, if you want to enter this information, exactly the same. Ahmet, John, 11/11/2000. When you press enter, it will not accept. Yes, because it is a duplicate keys. Ahmet, John, 2011. It is telling already like that record in this table. Ahmet, John, birth date 2011/11. Ahmet, John, this record already exists. It can be, yes. If it is not mistake, you should correct. Yes. If it is correct, if there is exactly another Ahmet John with same name, last name, and birth date, you cannot enter to this table. You don't have a chance to enter this table. But usually, none of the students have same name, last name, and birth date at the same time. That's why you should change. For example, this may be Ahmet John'dan. Another maybe. You make mistake maybe. Now it's correct. This is one Ahmet, this is another Ahmet. They can have same birth date, but they are here different, or their name should be different, or their last name should be different at least, or their birth date should be different at least. Yes. Here you see combination of the sum field as a unique. Default constraint. In this example, we have two default constraints. This means if you will not provide any information for city, by default it will be Bishkek. If you will not provide any information for a registration date, default will be current date and time. Let's execute. Execute. Refresh. Student ID, we are not providing a enter. Why? Let's see. Because it is identity. Yes, that's why we don't need to provide it any information. Yes, it will be automatically entered. Last name. First name, Ahmet. For example, I will not provide any information for this field and for this field. What will happen? Let's see. Null. Yes, it looks not like that, but actually because of refreshing problem. Yes, it should be Bishkek and default one. Yes. Let's close and open it again to refresh. Yes, it is correct now. I haven't provided any information for city, for the city and registration date, but city automatically became Bishkek. Registration date automatically today's date. If you look at my time, 11/11/2020, it's correct. Yes. These values automatically entered. This is a default constraint. Since it is a constraint, you can set it as by using constraint keyword. Yes. This is a shortcut. When you want to set a default value, it is a same in the programming. Some variable you can set for the variable. When you're defining method or function, you can set the default values for the variable. It is exactly the same. You can set a default value. If you will not provide any information, these default values will be entered automatically to the database in the place of this field. Also, you can use constraint keyword. Here, we didn't use any constraint. You get. We thought default is a constraint. That's why you can use constraint. When you are defining using constraint keyword, you can give a name to your constraint. For example, constraint 1, constraint 2. Yes. You can tell CS1, CS2. Default get. And when you look at the constraints, you will see CS1, CS2 there. You can see your constraint in here. Yes, you have constraints. We have two constraints in this design. One of them is a for city, other one is a for registration date. Yes, this one. But this name, as you guessed, given by the database system, we didn't give these names. But if you use this method, constraint, name will be given by you. And later when you look at them, you can understand this is a first constraint, this is a second constraint defined by you. We can use like that. Also, you can add constraint later. For example, when you finish design of table, for example, when you finish design of your table, you finish design already table. Later you can tell this. You can use this command alter table. This means change table or modify this table and add one constraint to this one. And also change alter means here change or modify table, then same table and add one constraint. You can add this one also later. If you forget in the design stage, forget to adding some constraint, you can add later without changing your table. You can just add without affecting your table. You can just add the constraint in this field, city and registration date. Primary key constraint. So when you set like that primary key for one table, we told it is automatically making clustered and unique index. Also, it is making one more thing, constraint. Yes, it is making constraint. What is that constraint? Constraint, we told constraint is a rule. Yes, that rule, you cannot leave this field empty. Yes, because of the primary key constraint. You don't need to tell here not null in the SQL server. Maybe in other some server you should tell. Yes, but primary, if you set one field as a primary key, you cannot leave that field as a null. Also, because of primary key, you cannot enter repeating values for this field. Primary key constraint rule, primary key rules here. You cannot leave it empty, and you cannot repeat that value. Yes. It has to rule. So foreign key. Also, we mentioned about this rule too much in our previous lesson. Referential integrity. If you remember, referential integrity. This means when you are making like that two table, when you design a database with two table, students with two tables, with students table and with table payment, and if you make the relationship between them, foreign key side will be child table, primary other side will be parent table. Yes, we explained it many times before. To provide the referential integrity, if there is no parent record here, you cannot enter a child record here. Or if you want to delete a child record from here, if you want to insert a child record here, you must have a parent record here. Example, for example, for this one. For example, this is a parent table. This is a parent table. This is a child table, and you are trying to enter this record: $1,000 school fee, date in this date, and null. When you press enter, it will be accepted. Yes, it is accepted because student ID you didn't provide. Okay, it's accepted. But here also, when you enter second record here, when you enter second record, $33 for text box, and when you provide null, also it is accepted because there is a one payment, but you don't know that payment who did. That's why you are leaving null. Yes, in the foreign key side, null is accepted. You can enter null. But in this example, let's see first which one is not accepted. This one, for example. This is a parent table, student table. This is a child table. If you look at the parent table, nothing inside it. There is no any record. In the child table, you are entering the first record: $1,000 school fee in this date. Null. It is accepted because you didn't tell. But in the second record, second payment, $33 text box in this date, made by number 2 student. When you press enter, you will get this error message, and it is not committed. This means why? Because you are telling who paid this money, number 2 student. But in the parent table, there is no record like that. There is no like that record. This means you cannot enter this number 2 to this place. If you want to enter this one, first of all, you should go here and then you should enter who's number 2. Yes. Let's look at the correction like that. For example, if you want to enter this record here, first of all, you should go to parent table. You should tell number 2, Hassan, surname, and from this, with this information, when you enter here, now you can come here and you can enter the number 2. When you press enter, it will be accepted. This means number 2 is when you enter a child record, it must have a parent record in the parent table. Who's checking this constraint? Foreign key. If you have a foreign key constraint, you don't need to tell constraint because we know that it is a foreign key. Foreign key is a constraint also. Yes. That's why this foreign key checking this constraint rule. We have already explained this one as a referential actions. no action, cascade, set null, and set default. You can look at the previous lessons to see about these ones more. You can set or you can implement reflection integrity for the foreign key. For example, when you are deleting and updating, you can use cascade. Cascade means when you delete a child record, when you delete a parent record, you can delete it, but automatically also it will delete the all child record. Yes, in the update also by the vice versa. Here there's one good example for all constraint. Which constraint we have here? If you look at here, primary key constraint we have. Primary key constraint, what does this means if you set one field as a primary key, you should obey these two rules. One of them, you cannot repeat values for it, and you cannot leave this field empty. Yes, this is a primary key. Another, there is no constraint anymore here. Here we have again primary key constraint. We have check constraint. This means amount should be 0 or more. You cannot enter an amount of money minus payment. You cannot make minus payment. Yes. Here also there is a not null constraint here. Also you must enter a payment. Yes, you cannot leave this field empty. Is another constraint. Here also there is one not null constraint and then default constraint again. And then also there is a foreign key constraint. We told for primary key and foreign key, even if you not tell constraint, it is they have one constraint. Yes. You can make constraint like that also. Add constraint, alter amount money, not null. For example, for table payment, for the amount field, you can add not null constraint. Yes. Also here for money, you can add one constraint like that. Money for the money field, constraint, name of the constraint, check amount must be bigger than 0. Yes. To make the amount field, for example, not null and check constraint, we use these two options. First of all, we defined here check constraint. After that, we add not null constraint. Yes. But if you look at here, in one line, we have defined all of them. This is a easy method, but this is a better method. For in the exam or somewhere else, you are not responsible for these utility functions. Yes, they are the utility functions. I am not going to ask any question from them to you, but you can use them. For example, let's do this one. Copy. First of all, we are going to make one DB school. Inside it, we are going to do two tables, table students and table payments. We are doing two tables, and we are making some constraint inside them. Yes. First of all, let's be sure if there is a not DB school in my database server. DB school, I think there is no DB school. And let's execute. And let's go to master first and execute. Yes, now it is. We have this one, refresh, DB school here. And let's do one more query for it and then see which constraint we have. So this is a utility function. If you want to use it, you can use exactly without changing anything. It is listing constraint in your database system. If you want to see constraint manually, you can see like that. Okay, when you go there, tables, and then we have inside it, for example, this table has a two constraint. Yes, this one. Also, this table, manually, if you want to investigate your constraint, in the second table, we don't have table student, we don't have any constraint. Table school. And you can investigate them like that also. We have primary key constraint, check constraint, default constraint, and foreign key constraint. Let's see them. We have two primary key constraint. Yes, this one, and then this one. And check constraint, we have one check constraint. It is here. Also, we have default constraint. With one default constraint. This is a default constraint. Also, we have foreign key constraint one. Yes, this is here. Yes, we have this constraint. You can investigate your constraint like that also. So if you want to drop constraint, if you want to delete your constraint, you can use drop function. Also, there's a one note after 2000 Microsoft SQL add new constraint to the system. So if you don't have any question, do you have any question?
So constraint means that we must fill